Hey there guys, Sinister here with another YouTube video, and today, as you can see, we have the For Honor beta. So, I don't exactly know how long the beta has been out. I think it's been about 1, maybe 2 days, I think. But yeah, so I just thought that in this video I would give you guys some tips and or tricks that I have kind of figured out while I was playing the game, and just things that have helped me. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into it with tip number 1. Okay, so for tip number 1, as you can see here, I'm fighting an enemy. We're up on a high ledge. Tip number 1 is going to be throwing your enemies off of a higher ledge to get an advantage. So as you see, he actually tried to throw me off, and I did get up, recover, and eventually I just kind of parried and blocked his attack, turned it against him. And then in this next clip here, you'll see the same thing, but it's a really helpful tip for like close course battles, like if you're about to die or anything, because then you can turn the battle around and save yourself. So in this clip here, the guy snuck up on me. I was at low health to start, so I actually did get the upper hand. I just blocked and waited for him to stop hitting and then knocked him right off, and it gave me an advantage. So in this clip here, you'll see I do try it again, and I just want to say that it's not always the best choice or the best method to win battles all the time. As you'll see here, he kind of sneaks up behind me from the stairs, and I was like, okay, I was able to do this last time, so maybe I can go again. And anything can happen, anything unexpected can happen. As you saw, he blocked, knocked me back, started hitting me, and then off goes my head. So in this clip here, I did the same thing. I grabbed this guy's attention, brought him down, tried to knock him off because he was bigger than me, and tried to get the upper hand, but I actually did end up dying. And yeah, although it is a very helpful tip, and it's a really good strategy on how to take out your enemies quickly if you're in a predicament and you're close to an edge, it's not always the best choice to go with, because of it is easy to actually get killed while doing it. So with that tip done, we will go ahead and move right on to tip number 2. So for tip number 2, as a disclaimer really quickly, this is mainly for the character, the Peacekeeper or the Assassin. So for tip number 2, I have the strategy of keeping distance while doing the most amount of damage. So as you can see, I apply a bleeding effect, which then I follow up with a grab and then a stab, which then reapplies the bleeding effect, and it does a decent amount of damage while also keeping your distance so you don't get hit as many times as you would if you were just running in. So in this clip, I do get hit quite a bit, and then my stamina runs out, but then I come back, and as you can see, his health is really low, and then I hit him with the stab, which makes him bleed, and he does end up running away because of the health being taken down so low, and it keeping the low state that it's in because of the bleeding effect. With that said, that it puts an end to tip number 2 of keeping your distance while doing the most amount of damage possible. With that said, we will go ahead and move right on to tip number 3. So for tip number 3, I wanted to go in depth a little bit with the loot system and all of that stuff. So the first thing I want to get into is definitely get rid of all of the things that you do not want or need, because as you can see, it'll just start to kind of junk up, and if you're not ever using it, then there's no point in keeping it. And once you get rid of it, you do get points, and these points are then spent to upgrade other pieces of armor or parts of your weapon to make the weapon better in different aspects. So the more you get rid of and dismantle, the more that you will actually be able to benefit yourself because of the actual upgrading system. So as you can see, I had a whole bunch of armor for my arms, and I just looked at all the stats for all of them, and the main thing I wanted was to keep the blocking damage up as much as possible. So I upgraded the blocking damage, and that really will help win in battle, because once hit, you'll want to make sure you can stay up as long as possible. And you do want to keep some of the higher tier armor that you have for different aspects, because different things have different abilities. So if there's one main thing you are looking for, definitely keep that armor or weapon and just upgrade it as much as you feel is necessary. Okay, and moving right on to the weapon aspect of your loot. What I have found, like I said earlier, get rid of the stuff that you're not using. Higher level stuff keep. But what I noticed as I was playing was, later on in this clip, I do get a sword that has a higher defense and a lower attack, and I thought that was the best choice, because, you know, higher defense means you can protect yourself longer while also doing some damage. But I found out that's not really the case. Keeping a higher damage weapon is better. You might take a little bit more damage in the long run. Like, by that I mean you might take more hits in the long run, just because of the low defense of the weapon itself when blocking. But also, as soon as you get a chance and you start hitting, you're going to deal so much more damage than if you did have a lower attack power on a weapon. So I definitely would advise using a higher tier sword or weapon that has higher attack than defense. But if you can find one that has like a happy medium, then definitely use it. But that is pretty much my one main tip for weapons, is use one that has a higher attacking power, because it will save you a lot. Especially if an enemy's at low health, you might only have to hit them once or twice, and then it'll kill them and you'll be safe. So yeah, that's the main thing that I had to say about weapons, and yeah, that's it for the weapon category. And that's going to end tip number 3 of loot and what things you want to look for. And yeah, so we can go ahead and move right on to tip number 4. So for tip number 4, I guess the main thing I wanted to talk about was staying alert. Staying alert is a really big part of helping you stay alive and your team win. So I'll replay that clip a couple times of me out in the middle there, and as you can see, like, there's a lot of other guards around, there's a lot of just random enemies everywhere, and it kind of gets hard to stay focused on everything at once. So I know I don't show it too much in the clip, but definitely one thing you want to do is pan the camera around while you're fighting those guards, because the guards don't do as much damage as one of the online players using their hero. And so pan the camera around, and one other thing is, I can't stress this enough, is always look at the minimap. The minimap is one of those things that is there, you know it's there, but it's just not paid attention to as much as it should be. And once you pay attention to it more, you will definitely notice things that you haven't before, like, hey, an enemy sneaking up behind you, or an enemy is sneaking in from the side, or anything like that. And it's just really helpful, because then you know that somebody's gonna come up behind you, try to attack you, and then you kind of have a slight advantage to knowing that, hey, I can defend myself now. So always keep an eye on that mini-map, and always pan your camera around to see if anybody's coming, and that is one of my main tips in this video, I would say, to help you win and stay alive and do your best during a match. With that said, that'll end tip number 4, and we can go ahead and move right on to tip number 5. So, as you will see in this clip, for tip number 5, I have like ladder tricks, I guess I can call it. So this guy here, if you look down at his mini-map, sees that there's an enemy under him, and he's just waiting for the enemy to actually come up the ladder so he can knock them off. And in this clip here is a better example. So I was waiting on the ladder to see if anybody was going to come up, because I was the last one alive in the sudden death thing. So you just keep sliding down the ladder, you hold circle on PlayStation, or B if you're on Xbox, and you just slide down the ladder, and it will actually knock the enemies off. But as you saw, I did get knocked off myself, because somebody had punched me because they timed it correctly to hit me right off as I was sliding down. So that is one thing you have to be careful of, because if you get knocked down off of the ladder while trying to slide down, then it can end badly and you can die. And as you see here, I knocked him down, didn't see the other guy sneak up behind me, and I did end up dying. So that is one thing that you do want to keep in mind when doing this trick. Always, I guess, stay alert with who's around you when you're sliding down, and if you do decide to get down, make sure you can actually defend yourself. And yeah, just be careful when doing this, because you do not want to get knocked off. And that is going to end this tips and tricks video for the beta of For Honor. I hope you guys did enjoy. I know it's kind of a lengthy video, but hopefully these tips did help anyone that is trying to get better at the game. And I would definitely recommend this game, or the beta, to anybody who is looking for something new to play, because the game is just absolutely beautiful, and I definitely would recommend it to anybody out there. And that's going to end this video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I will go ahead and end it off there. I will see you guys in the next stream or video, whatever comes first. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Sinister out.